All right, everyone, welcome. How is everybody doing? If you were able to attend the keynote on the main stage a minute ago, I would love to hear how it went. And for you to start introducing yourself in the chat. I'm Kelsey. I am your host for the Impact Stage throughout the day today. Before we get to our next session, I want to give a big highlight to two of our incredible partners helping make the Fundraising AI Summit come to life. The first is to our friends at Virtuous. Virtuous, they believe generosity has the power to transform the world and the hearts of those who give. Their mission is to advance global generosity by helping nonprofits build meaningful connections with their supporters. Virtuous is much more than a nonprofit CRM. It's a responsive fundraising platform designed to empower teams to strengthen relationships and increase impact with confidence by unifying fundraising, marketing, automation, volunteering, and donor retention. The Virtuous CRM platform eliminates redundant tasks and delivers actionable insights, enabling nonprofits to create personalized donor experiences at scale. You can schedule a demo of Virtuous and see how Virtuous can help your nonprofit organization thrive with responsive fundraising. There is a link directly on the screen to do that. And we'll learn a little bit more about Virtuous in this video.
The Virtuous Responsive Fundraising Platform helps nonprofits build better donor relationships, save time, and grow giving. Fundraising in an ever-changing world isn't easy. Creating meaningful connections with your supporters at scale and retaining your existing donors, all while inviting new people to join your mission, can feel overwhelming. Spending your day digging through disconnected data and completing repetitive tasks, especially when you're relying on legacy tech that can't keep up, only makes the problem worse. Sound familiar? That's where Virtuous comes in. Virtuous increases giving by personalizing every donor interaction, and it saves your team time by integrating your data and automating your mundane tasks. We call this responsive fundraising. It means listening to donors, connecting personally, and tailoring donor journeys that inspire giving. And with Virtuous, you have all the tools you need in one flexible, enterprise-ready platform. Break down data silos with donor management tools that provide a 360-degree view of each donor, from digital engagement to individual interests. Marketing automation. Automate donor journeys, tasks, and data updates, so every touchpoint feels personal and impactful. Integrated marketing tools. Unify email, SMS, and website tracking with your donor data for targeted, personalized campaigns. Donor insights. Access combined wealth, social, and behavioral data to better understand your donors and create experiences that inspire them to take action. Accelerate your gift pipeline and never miss an opportunity with a major donor. Connect with your favorite software, customize your experience, and ensure your data is secure with the leading enterprise-grade platform. With Virtuous, your team can stop wasting time on manual tasks, integrate data, and boost donor retention. It's time to build better donor relationships at scale with less work from your team. Let's grow generosity together.
All right. Thank you for that great video, and we'll be hearing from our friends at Virtuous in just a second. The next organization I want to shout out is Tatango. So Tatango is the leading text fundraising platform that is built exclusively for nonprofits. I have used and seen Tatango, and it is incredible. Nonprofits have raised more than $600 million with Tatango by turning text messaging into a trusted channel for donor engagement and giving. With 99% open rates, that is incredible. Permission-based messaging, AI-driven personalization, and donation optimization, Tatango helps every organization maximize fundraising results and build lasting donor relationships. You can discover how text messaging drives fundraising revenue. You can utilize their fundraising and book a demo with Tatango using the button there on the screen. We have a little video.
Need dedication and donations. But how do you convince people to follow your mission, provide their support? How do you break donation records? How do you share your message and get the funds you need to accomplish your mission? It's easier than you think, because you and everyone else already hold the answer. Tatango lets you reach your audience directly, helping you get results. No matter the size of your campaign or organization, rally your supporters, or even just send a casual hello. Tatango integrates seamlessly with all major donation platforms. And with a robust API and a team of fundraising experts, we'll help you use your existing list of supporters who have opted in to receive your messages wherever that list is stored. So you can continue to build relationships with people who specifically care about your cause. We handle your short code setup. We make sure you're compliant with all major carriers. And we provide the resources and inspiration you need to confidently send campaigns that connect with your audience. We have proven time and time again we deliver the biggest return on investment. We show you the donations received from each SMS message, letting you focus on your most engaged supporters while trying to maximize your fundraising. At Tatango, we empower nonprofits to achieve their fundraising goals. Discover the preferred text messaging solution for leading nonprofits. Start your journey and see how Tatango can further your mission.
All right. It's great to have folks welcoming each other in the chat. Keep it coming. We'd love to see where you're joining from and maybe what you're excited about learning today. All right, let's get our session started. This is AI in action, how fundraisers are scaling personalization and engagement. I'm really excited to introduce our incredible moderator for this panel, Scott Holthaus. Scott is the manager of campaigns and programs at Virtuous, where he helps nonprofits grow generosity through responsive fundraising. He has 15 plus years of experience in local nonprofits and ministries, and he brings deep expertise in marketing and communications to empower mission-driven organizations. I'm going to bring Scott on the screen to introduce Jason, Mike, and Pam, who are joining him for the rest of the panel. And we'll be back here for some Q&A at the end.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kelsey. It is so good to be here with everyone. I know it's been a full day already. I was there this morning as Floyd kicked us off, and I'm still kind of buzzing from the energy Floyd brought. So we're going to continue that into the panel today. Super glad to have everyone here. Hey, let's keep the chat active. So, let us know questions that you have. Obviously, the Q&A tab as well. We are going to be going through some questions already, but we want to know some specifics to dive into. So we don't have too long, so we want to jump right into it. And I'm going to toss it around for everyone to do intros here. We have Mike, Jason, and Pam, and super pumped for that. But as we do, what I would love, Michelle's saying, go Pam. I love that. We already got some encouragement in the chat. But as we do, here's what I'd love to hear. Kind of your short bio, who you are, where you're at, what you do. But in addition to that, obviously AI is everywhere. We're all hearing about it. We're at the Fundraising AI Global Summit. So I'd love if you could also answer the question, what does AI in action mean to you and your organization? So Mike, I'm going to send it to you to kick us off with an intro.
Thanks so much. And hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. My name is Mike Snusz, and this is my 22nd year in the nonprofit industry. I've worked as a fundraiser, consultant, and now I work with nonprofits, helping them with their text messaging campaigns to help raise more money, retain more donors, and engage donors. And so AI in action, it means to me using practical and responsible tools that are going to help nonprofits raise more and save time, but doing it in a way without losing trust. And so at Tatango, that shows up in AI-driven segmentation, our message suggestions for text messages, and bumping up some of those important replies. So for example, text messages, when you send them out to donors and constituents, they do get replies. AI helps to identify simple things like donation inquiries. So it's not flashy, but it does save time. It does help to raise more money. So it's about making sure that every text message that you send helps to push the donor relationship forward and to build on it.
It's awesome. Jason?
Yeah, great to see everyone. My name is Jason VanLue. I lead the product team at Virtuous. And so AI in action, really good question. At Virtuous, our sort of product philosophy, honestly, our really entire philosophy is built around this idea of responsive fundraising, which is basically saying giving is very personal. There's a very personal reason that your supporters give. There's a very personal reason why they want to stay connected to your cause. And so the more that you can tap into that personal connection, but more importantly, building that personal relationship with each of your supporters, the more effective you're going to be with your fundraising efforts. And so AI in action for us seeks to empower that. It really looks at, one of the ways that we like to talk about it here is we want to get rid of the menial work so that you can get back to doing the meaningful work. And that's that human-centered relationship building work. So all of our AI features, AI products that we're building are really built for that purpose, to help empower you to build more personal relationships at scale.
Love it. Pam?
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Pam Colbert and I'm with Metro State University in Denver. I am the mid-level gift officer and I run that program for MSU Denver. I have around 450 plus donors in my portfolio. So for me, AI is all about creating a timely way to make personal communications and make sure that I'm addressing the right people at the right time. So for us, and for myself, AI is that incredible tool that doesn't replace me as a frontline fundraiser, but allows me to be even more efficient with my time and making sure that I am able to be that frontline fundraiser.
Yeah, I love that. And Pam, officially, you have the most fans in the chat because I keep hearing people who are like, Pam's awesome, Pam's amazing. And
Okay.
so I think we're just here to kind of listen to you, and I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you.
No, I really appreciate it. I think that today the goal of the conversation as well is to talk through the two different things, which is tools, because there's a whole lot when it comes to technology and tools, but there's also a whole lot in strategy and how do you actually put this into practice. And so that's kind of our goal in bringing together, Pam, who is in it and who is putting those things into practice, strategy, as well with Jason and Mike, who are on the front lines of building these tools. And so jumping into that, Jason, would love to toss this to you specifically. When it comes to Virtuous, like how are we leveraging AI to help fundraisers prioritize donors and personal outreach? I think you mentioned it, but that personalization is so important right now. So would love for you to paint a little picture for people on what's possible with some of the tools today.
Yeah, I mean, look, the landscape that we're in right now is absolutely bananas. I've been in product for 2 decades, and this is the coolest and scariest time, honestly, for me, just because things are changing so fast. The technology that's being built is so transformative, and so it's a really good question just to kind of almost take a step back and just kind of consider, like, what is this new frontier that we find ourselves in. And so kind of like what I mentioned earlier, for us at Virtuous, specifically on the product side, the actual technology, the actual features and functionalities are super important. But at the end of the day, it's still about the people on the other side of the screen. Like, fundamentally, even with AI, in fact, even more so with AI, that human-centered connection is still the foundation of what we're trying to achieve. And so for us at Virtuous, it's not just AI for AI's sake. It's not just a chatbot because a chatbot is in everything now. It's how does that actually help you, the fundraiser, you, the organization, drive after the outcomes that you want? How does that help you ultimately grow generosity? So there's 3 particular ways that we're kind of tackling this right now, which you can find inside of the platform. And that the first is kind of what I would call intelligent prioritization. And so what this means is being able to serve up data, serve up patterns, serve up insights to really help you begin to identify, but also prioritize what is the next right thing to do. What does my database look like? What do my segments of donors, what are they resonating with? And by bringing in a lot of the first party data that we have as a CRM, but also various third party data, and then using AI to then synthesize that and be able to surface some of those patterns to remove a lot of the guesswork. And then more than that, being able to not just surface up some of those ideas, but actually help you begin to prioritize them. Because the last thing we need is like more things to do, right? The last thing we need is more ideas. We need help to be able to actually drive execution. And so one of our products called Virtuous Momentum actually does that. It actually is a fully prioritized inbox every single morning of the top next right steps for you to take. And I think we're going to see a lot more of that, where we can utilize AI to really help us understand, hey, like what's going to move the needle forward the most for me and my day-to-day, but also for our organization as a whole. Next is what I would probably call like contextual personalization, maybe. And so basically when you go to a donor's record, being able to understand more of the context. So it's not just about viewing giving history in kind of a vacuum. It's not just about seeing, you know, what are the notes that have been added to that profile over the last several months, but being able to understand that in context. Back to what I was talking about earlier, which is, why are they connected to you in the first place? What was that personal, compelling reason why they wanted to give? For me and my family, I have 3 adopted sisters, 2 of which went through the foster care system here in Florida. So I have a very personal connection within my family with that organization. So a lot of the foster care organizations that we support, it's more and more helpful for them to understand like that very specific personal connection. So going to my profile, being able to not only just view the aggregate data, but understand that in context to be able to build an even deeper relationship. And then lastly would be the predictive insights layer, which is more so on kind of the aggregate level. How do we look at segments of donors within our database? How do we really uncover opportunities that, you know, traditional metrics might not catch? So maybe we can see folks who have increased capacity, increased engagement. We can actually start to predict, hey, like these are the folks you really need to target, maybe with a particular ask campaign or with a particular engagement campaign, because they are ready and willing to get more involved with your organization. And so really all of these things together, seamlessly integrated, I think is the other key point here, that we don't want to have a lot of like ideally siloed AI tools that we're using. The more that we can integrate that into the more holistic story of just how do we reach these folks more effectively? How do we reach across the other side of the screen and understand why they want to be involved and really be able to tap into that without having to do a lot more work, I think is one of the really powerful ways that we can use AI.
Yeah. Pam, would love to hear from your perspective, being in the work, being in the day-to-day. How has using AI changed your day-to-day fundraising efforts? And would love, you know, for you, as much as you can, to share an example of how specifically AI has kind of helped focus on the right donors at the right time to understand kind of the right next steps.
Sure. I'm actually a big fan of momentum. We use momentum. So right on, Jason, all about momentum. I could probably spend a whole couple of hours talking about momentum, but I won't do that. Biggest fan. I think for us, you know, it's all about being not in my role is being more reactive in some avenues and yet being proactive. So for me, momentum has allowed me to actually get in, do the work that I don't need to do, but bring it to the front for me to look at and say, okay, this donor today, one of my biggest success, believe it or not, is the happy birthday segment. So when you have 450 plus donors, there's absolutely no way I have the ability to know whose birthday it is today in that portfolio. So momentum allows that opportunity, brings it to the forefront. They create a really nice little quick happy birthday, thinking of you. Thank you for your generosity and your support to MSU Denver. And then I'm looking at that, I'm sending it off. And one of the biggest success out of this is I can send an impact email to these donors every other month. But that birthday, I have had more connection with those donors. They respond, thank you, Pam. They're being heard, they're being seen. And every donor wants that value. They want to be valued and seen. And I've had more connection with my donors through that happy birthday. I would also say like gift anniversaries. In my world at 450, I never would have thought that that was another really great avenue to follow as a frontline fundraiser, and Momentum has really brought that into my play, and it has worked tremendously. We've had over 100% increase in revenue in a year's period of time with Momentum by using that in the mid-level.
That's awesome. As a heads up, our lounge session after this, we are actually going to dive into Momentum, what Pam was just talking about. And so it's called 3X Your Team's Fundraising with AI in Your Corner. So jump in there if you have more questions specific to that. But Mike, would love to ask you, I know Tatango's added AI capabilities around segmentation, message composition. How have you seen this really help nonprofits run more effective SMS fundraising campaigns, like seeing that AI portion come into play?
Yeah, it's a great question. And we know that nonprofits don't have time to manually create a lot of audiences or rewrite messages over and over. So our AI segmentation has helped to take a lot of indicators and information and find the right groups to target and base it on things like their engagement with the text message, whether they're donating, and even things like positive replies. If somebody gives you a thumbs up to a text message, or they say positive feedback, using AI to look at that sentiment and see is it positive, is it negative, and then be able to group those audiences together. And that would be really time consuming to do if you were running reports and if you were segmenting lists and kind of creating all these different segments. So it's a really powerful way to take a lot of important information and with a little bit of extra audience, add them to your campaigns. We recently saw one organization that they added a tiny number of these highly engaged folks to their text message campaign, and they ended up raising almost a third of the revenue for the entire campaign. Wow. Another nonprofit took this highly engaged group based on positive replies and clickers and donations, and they targeted them for a monthly donation campaign, and they were really excited with the results there. So using some of these audiences and behaviors and interpretation of their feedback to us and being able to use that and group them into different audiences. So that's one way. Another way is to use AI to tailor the content to individuals. And so one thing with text messages, sometimes when you send an SMS message, you only have 150 characters to use. And so for nonprofits to try to fit content into 150 characters, that has sometimes been difficult to take your message and, well, how many characters do I have? And it led to frustration. And so AI can simply take your message and make sure it gets down into 150 characters and then let you edit it from there. So things like that, things like suggesting content based on past engagement and how people have reacted to your past text messages, that helps nonprofits to save time, to have fewer generic blasts. And that we see it in the results, leading to higher engagement, better fundraising results, but also more people engaged and staying on your text messaging list as well.
Yeah. Well, I think that's an important piece too, because text is such a direct and personal channel, and because of that, if you err on the side of just spray and pray, it can feel that way. And I'm sure we all get those text messages at times, and delete, block, or whatever it might be. And so how does AI really help make that feel super authentic, personal, and not just like, well, this has been sent out to 1,000 people?
Yeah, you're right. AI helps with how you say it, but that authenticity comes from, first of all, making sure people have wanted to receive your text messages and respecting that consent, but also leveraging AI to be timely. So for example, instead of having those one size fits all text messages, AI helps recognize what's resonated previously and provide those suggestions. It feels personal because it's coming from the donor actions previously. Last week, if I said, I love your organization, thanks for everything that you do, now I might be put into an audience where I get an extra thank you or an extra gratitude text, something like that, that it's coming from those real actions of the feedback, the clicks, the donations. Jason mentioned a little bit earlier that finding the right next steps, and I think that's important too, And AI with our platform helps to sort text into different types of replies, things like questions people may have, positive, negative feedback, top audiences who are responding, because some of the messages that come back are just, they're not meant for you. They're saying I'm driving, or they're giving some other sort of feedback that doesn't require an action. But some of those replies do require actions. And the more timely that you can be, the more efficient you can be in those reply messages, the more that helps to feel personal and authentic. If somebody's trying to make a gift on Giving Tuesday and they say, I need some help, somebody contact me, and we bump that up to the top of the inbox so somebody sees that reply and they can get back to them, not only is that helping to raise more money, but that's helping to be very authentic and personal and timely. And I think that really helps to build the relationships.
Yeah, absolutely. We do have some good questions kind of pouring in here. I know we want to be able to have a couple minutes for that. Pam, you'd mentioned birthdays, and someone actually asked, how's it best to capture donor birthdays? How do you all do that to then be able to have that data to interact with?
Sure. So we collect. So we're pretty much, Momentum is generating out of the integration with our CRM program. So it is whoever is in my portfolio, it's identifying on a day-to-day basis whose birthday's coming. And the communication, what's really incredible about AI, and I wanted to say this in the beginning, I should have probably said this sooner, was that it's still, I'm still the fundraiser. I'm still a human. AI is this tool that works alongside with me, providing the information so that I can respond, like Mike was saying, in a timely manner, organized, and at the same time, what has been successful for myself is that AI and myself is that I'm personal and I am a real person, and that those donors know that. So from the birthday message, it is very short. Momentum gives a really, and again, AI mimics you, it becomes a part of you, which is incredible. So I have that option to make it sound like me, but it is me. So I'm constantly reviewing it, looking at it. But it's what you do in your CRM to pull that data that gives you that direct information.
Yeah. Well, I know we're coming up, I think 1:55 Central, 2:55 Eastern is about when we're going to wrap up. So I'd love to just throw one last question to everyone here. Everyone brings kind of a different perspective from, different technology angles, real world fundraising, all of that. So what lessons can nonprofits take away about using AI across multiple channels to create more unified donor experiences? And so just kind of a minute each, if we could, as we kind of wrap up, then we'll have some next steps for folks. Mike, can I toss that to you first?
Yeah, sounds great. Real quick. So I think it's only AI is really only as effective as the data that it is based on. And if you're looking at some of the data of clicks, opt-outs, for example, from an email or from a text message, then I think the recommendations aren't going to be as effective as if you're looking at other things such as donations, event participation, different types of engagement, and having that really then helps you to personalize the content, the replies, make them relevant. So I think one of the big opportunities that I see across channels is integrating the data and actually having more of the behavioral data to be able to base the recommendations off of, so you can actually be timely in those moments when you can reach out to people when it is going to be based on somebody who has donated versus not donated. And we know that, and we're not just looking at some of the metrics and some of the data to base our strategies on using AI.
Nice. Jason, toss this to you.
Yeah, I totally agree with Mike on that one. That was actually a really good setup. Yeah, like 100% agree that integration of data is already so critical, and it's going to be even more critical as AI continues to grow and become a lot more a part of what we do on a day-to-day basis. Pam, you brought up some really good examples. Oftentimes, people will ask me like, where do I start? Like, what's kind of, because, maybe I don't have AI in my CRM, or maybe I still have a lot of disparate systems. And so there's probably a couple of things that I would say there. One, think about the jobs that you hate doing. So if you think about like the jobs to be done sort of exercise, one way that I actually like to ask my team is, hey, what job would you pay somebody else to do? Like, no question. And then what job would you actually pay to do? Like, would you want to do because you're so passionate about it? Sometimes that can be helpful to be able to identify, oh, like maybe this is something that I could utilize AI as kind of like a sidekick or kind of like an assistant. That could be really, really helpful. And then also, just beginning to understand, like, how can we start to integrate some of these systems together. Hopefully, you have a tool like Virtuous or you have another really solid CRM that's already doing that. If not, you can kind of start to do that internally. But ultimately, as both Pam and Mike said, at the end of the day, it's about the human on the other side of the screen. That's who we're going after. And so the more that we can get rid of the jobs that sort of prevent us from doing that core human work, that's really where it's going to be the most effectively used.
Yeah. Pam, would love to toss this to you.
Yeah, I think Mike and Jason said it really well. The only thing I think that I would really contribute from a perspective of a fundraiser is that you're looking at your whole donor pipeline and how you're moving these donors, and AI gives you that strength and that ability, and it's all about the quality of data. So AI works as well as what your data is. But I would, from a fundraiser perspective, AI, I look forward to watching how it continues to bridge all of the bridges that allows us as fundraisers to be successful throughout our whole pipeline, whether it's alumni, annual, major giving, we all become one. So that's what I look forward to with AI in the future.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I know we need to wrap, and I apologize we didn't get to all these questions, but I do want to share one resource that our Chief AI Officer and co-founder of Fundraising AI, Nathan Chappell, wrote, which is the 5 Essentials for AI Success. It's a nonprofit AI field guide, and so that has been made available to you. Link in the chat. Would love for you to download that for free. We are going to be moving to our lounge session where we are going to dive into momentum. I know Pam mentioned that a few times, so we're actually going to look at that and see here's what this actually means, what it can do for you. We'll be able to answer some questions. So jump into that. That is 3X your team's fundraising with AI in your corner. So that's the name of the lounge session. Super grateful for our panelists. I know they won't hear you, but wherever you're at, give them a round of applause in your office or in your home. Thank you them. Mike, Jason, Pam, super, super helpful. Thank you so much for being here and for the time. And we are going to now move to the next thing. I don't know if Kelsey's coming back on stage to transition or if that's just up to me. Oh, here's Kelsey. Awesome.
I'm here and I'm giving you your applause so that you can actually hear it. Thank you so much, Jason, Scott, Mike, and Pam. It was really fantastic. Tons of great questions in the chat. I think Jennifer saw a really good question from you. So make sure you check out their lounge after this. I also want to shout out a couple additional resources. As I am speaking, grab all of those links in the chat that you saw come through. They are all available to you and a couple more. So for Fundraising AI Summit attendees, you get a free copy of the 2025 Virtuous Benchmark Report. Please utilize that. It is more than just data. It is a roadmap for sustainable growth and has really incredible resources. Tatango is also offering their proof pilot for 60 days, no risk. You can access both of those resources. There's a link right up there on the screen right now for the Tatango resource. And share your feedback. So let us know how you thought that session was. I know it was quick, but please share your feedback. This is how we make the summit better year over year. As Scott said, they have a lounge going. So three times your team's fundraising with AI in your corner. You can join their lounge from the reception area. You'll see lounge at the top of the navigation screen and look for this title. You can see the instructions for how to do that there. You can join them for a live conversation, turn your video on, etc. I'm shouting out some of our next sessions. So on the Amplify stage, we have AI and the environment, what nonprofits need to know. There have been some really good questions about the environmental impact of AI already in this stage today, so encourage you to join that. On the innovation stage, we have no playbook, no problem, building a mission-aligned AI policy and an implementation plan from the ground up. And then on the impact stage, which is this stage, I'll be here with a great group of people talking about retention, using AI to communicate with more care. You can also access the Spark stage, which is open. The Spark stage is quick sessions that are action-packed, there to have you test out practical ways to use AI right now. Coming up, we have Well, That Backfired, Myth Smashers, the Metaphor Test, and Can You Spot the Difference Between AI versus Human Text? I love a quiz, so I wish I could be there, but you can if you use the agenda and bookmark that session. And you can view your schedule, join your next sessions right in the top of the right-hand corner. And thank you so much for attending. We'll see you on the impact stage in just a second.